are now going to look at measuring a through bore as a cylinder. We are going to use the exact same face or bore that we used in the previous exercise when we measured it as a circle, only now we will measure it as a cylinder. So let's switch over to Aberlink. As mentioned, the key thing here is that we need to make sure the Z- offset on the star probe is active before we open the feature. That will predetermine the correct vector, in this example going through the front of the job and exiting through the front of the job, but the same principle applies no matter which head orientation you are using. So set the Z- star probe as active. We'll open the feature that we want, so in this case a cylinder, and if it's not already on CNC, just click on CNC and you'll see within the move parameters box the vector is now correct, and we want to lock those in place via clicking on the padlocks. You'll see the padlocks are now locked or closed, meaning the plunge and rise is fixed based off using the Z- direction. We now want to go and actually take our points. So again, as per the previous exercise, we need to change to one of the star offsets. It doesn't actually matter which one you use, but it's always good to try and use the correct one visually in the correct location. So in this example, I'm using the X-, and all I need to do is take 2 clicks to define the start and end of the cylinder. So 1 click here, 1 click here, and that defines the cylinder. And as again you'll see, because we used the star offset to take these points, the software has identified it's a star probe and asked, do you want to use all available star tips in this feature? We'll click yes. That is going to evenly disperse the measurements to the closest available star. Now what you'll notice is initially the software uses 6 points. As you can imagine, because we have the probe path switched on. So again, for anyone who isn't aware of this, if you go to the View Edit toolbar, click on Display Options and then select Show Probe Path, you'll be able to visually see what the probe is going to do before it actually does it physically on the machine. And as you can see, these probe positions aren't going to work. The star probe is going to crash. So what we need to do with cylinders is modify the amount of points. We have 2 options here. We can use 8 and hit Make. Again, it will ask us the question again, which we'll click yes to, and you'll see that evenly spreads out the points over 2 depths. And like I said, we've got the plunge and rise, so entrance and exit set correctly to go in through the front and out through the front. However, if you want a better measurement, the alternative option other than 8 is to use 3, 4. Press make, yes, and you'll see that evenly spreads out the 4 points but over 3 different depths. Those currently are the only 2 options. If you try anything else, for example like 10, make, you'll see the points get spread out evenly, but it's not actually possible to run the measurement with the star probe. So the 2 options are 8 or 3, 4. We'll run with 3, 4, so we hit make, yes, and again just to show you this in action before the video wraps up, we'll turn on the camera, and again if I press play on this you'll see it navigates through the front of the job. It's going to then take the first depth with the correct offsets, now moves on to the second depth, then finally you have the third depth. And once it finishes its last point, rather than going out through the bottom of the job or the top, it comes out through the front, and that is because we predefined the vectors based off using the Z- offset. So that is how we measure internal through bores as cylinders.